Hello everyone, I'm your host Shashi, again with you all on Women Dialogues to create more voice for women and by women. And today's our guest from UK, Jessilyn. She has more than 15 years of experience in corporate and public sector. Apart of that, what she has special to share with us, to learn, to get inspired, to motivate. We will hear from her as she is a mentoring and coaching all about financial mindset. She is a founding member of Legacy Global, and more than that, she started recently a very special movement. And we are excited to hear from Jessilyn all about. So, Jessilyn, welcome on Women Dialogue Talk Show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's an honor. I just want to note I'm actually from Canada, um,
Okay.
which is
Yes,
fine. I
yes.
love you. So yes, thank you. Thank you for having me on here.
Wonderful, Jesselyn. And I apologize because I found your profile. So maybe I got mixed up maybe with someone else. So I'm sorry about that. So yes, we are connecting with Jesselyn from Canada, and she is here with us to create more financial tool for us, how we can create. So as our audience and women and all is, our these listeners, if you're listening, get ready to get your financial mindset and train yourself how you can develop that mindset. So, Jesselyn, before starting your work, you are training, you are coaching, mentoring, and you started this special project initially. Before starting and jump into your career line, we would like to hear and let our audience know who you are as a person, how you grew up, what your early life was.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So I grew up on a farm outside of a very small town in northern Alberta. I don't know how many know Canada well. Um, it was probably what you would expect for a typical farm your life with no money. You know, we raised everything, animals, vegetables. We did it all ourselves because my parents didn't have money. I had two sisters as well. And it was, I mean, I'm grateful because I got really good work ethic out of that. But I watched my parents struggle with money my entire life. And I just remember when I was a young teen, I watched my parents, they're fighting. And I said to myself, I'm like, I will never have kids without money.
Mm,
I just remember how I felt like just watching my parents. It was painful. Like, right, you never want to see anyone upset. And so when I graduated high school, I moved to the nearest city to my farm, which was still almost 6 hours away. And I put myself into university and got a business degree and then jumped right into the corporate world,
mm,
right? Back then I thought, you know what, I want to be a VP of something because I
mm.
saw where I was working at the time, I saw a female VP and there was very few, it was very male dominated world. And I just saw how confident she looked and how strong she looked. And I'm like, man, one day I'm going to be in those shoes, right? And of course, it takes time. And I went into marketing and I was in that for several years before I realized I didn't love it. I think marketing is amazing. It's a wonderful tool, but I think it takes a very unique person in there because it's a lot about design and color and emotion and how you're kind of feeling for your business and your logo.
Yeah.
So I switched into IT, which is a lot more structured. And I went into project management. And what I found I loved about project management is that there was a start and an end. And I could keep going and doing new things. It wasn't just constantly doing the same thing. And I realized I like that. I like change. I'm not one who stays doing the same thing for long. So I did that and I worked my way up into a senior role. And I was there for
Wonderful.
quite a few years. Yeah, and as much as I loved what I did, it was the people I loved more than anything. I love people. I love working with people. And a few things about project management that I didn't overly enjoy was it was very structured for anyone who's a project manager out there. Kudos to you, but you have to have a very set schedule and budget that you're tracking. And those aren't my strengths. Like I can keep within a time frame, but a budget, I kind of need I need help managing that. I'm better at, getting people, making sure they have the right skill sets and that they're qualified to do what they need to do, making sure the stakeholders are happy. I was really good there. But another thing I found is I didn't love IT. I just found it, it wasn't the most exciting for me. And I didn't come from that background. And I know it's amazing. My husband is an IT guy, so I get it. But I was like, maybe I need a shift out of IT. And so I did. And I partnered with one of our major partners is Richard Dolan, who is the CEO of Legacy Global. We have many other partners in there as well. But I should backtrack. Sorry, before I partnered with Richard in 2009, I think it was, my husband and I started doing real estate investing. And then we joined the largest real estate investment network in Canada. And that's where we met, where we met Richard. So then you fast forward to 10 years later, 2019, when we partnered with him, because we loved the concept of the education he provided. And as I was telling you before we popped on here, it's financial education, but it's on money mindset. So it's about what are your beliefs about money? How are you raised with money? Do you have kind of the poverty mentality or the abundance mentality? And then when you can kind of figure that out, you can start to shift your view on money, because some people really, that's all they do. They work just for the money. Some people hate money, right? They find it causes anxiety, it causes stress. I mean, it's a reality in everyone's life. You need money to live, right? And so coming from the poverty mentality I had, just on how I was raised, it took some time and some education for me to understand where I was and how I had to shift it to get to where I am now.
Right.
So when that happened, it was like, wow, like I love this idea. If I could help women, shift either their mindset on money or how they're making it or how they can make more, like I think it was an incredible experience for me. So that's why I also went on my own to become a speaker and a coach to help women in this area of a great financial life. And I say it like that because it's not like I'm here teaching about stocks and bonds. That's not my background. And as much as I think those are good products for certain people, there's experts out there for that. And that's not me, right? I'm here to help people understand, like, are you really prepared should something happen? And I think this is a great time now because no one was prepared for this pandemic, this COVID outbreak, right?
So true. So true.
And to see how many families are being crushed because they didn't have the savings, or they're losing their jobs, or they have to step back to take care of aging parents or who are working from home now. It's crushing, and it's sad. So I work on the, are you prepared? Are you intentional with your money? How you spend it, how you make it? And what is your response to adversity? So when things do strike, like for example, this pandemic, how do you respond? Some people, right, they get like just like anxiety. Some people get depressed. Some people get sad. Other people view it as, okay, this is crappy, but I'm going to use this opportunity to do self-development, maybe grow a side hustle, get a second stream of income. And they're using the time that they have because they're maybe not commuting anymore, or things where work took up extra time, to utilize that to help build themselves. So that's kind of the area where I'm really working. It's all around the mind.
That's so true. And Jessilyn, when we are talking, what your early life journey, you shared how you understood how the money is important, how it plays in your life. And even at some moment you shared, like you found like, okay, if I don't have, I will not do that. So while coming from that background, and now you are yourself as a mentor, coach, and you are teaching, especially the women, the mindset. You shared, you joined some firm, and you developed and you shifted altogether, I can say, from 180 degree. So how, when we are talking here on this platform about this, mentoring, about coaching, how especially women, they can develop that, what kind of tools they require, what kind of mindset they, as you shared your journey, how about those other women who would like to connect with you, who would like to develop that kind of mindset, being financial, having financial mindset? What is required for that? What is first thing?
Being open-minded that there are other options, other views out there that may not be just in your vision. The biggest thing I always recommend is find a mentor, right? Now, there's a difference between a mentor and a coach, and I understand that. I am both, depending on who I'm working with. But a mentor is usually someone who's been there and they can help guide you to get to where you need to go. And generally, they don't usually charge, right? They're doing it because they know who you are, they love you, they want to help you. Whereas a coach also will coach you to get there, but they usually will be a little bit firmer because you're paying them to achieve a result. And so if I could say anything, I know it's a tough shift, but if you can go from there's not enough money, I'm always struggling, to just the mentality of there is money everywhere out there. And when you open your mind to it, you actually start to see where it is, and then you can start to build on how to get it.
Yeah, that is so true. And when we are talking about it, shifting our mindset, uh, how in current scenario, in current, like we have this global pandemic, what way the especially those, again, our target audience is women, but all other, if in general others are hearing, they are most welcome. But how they can develop that, first thing you said, to shift your mindset and understand, yes, it is possible. What are the next? Because I believe you did that. So nobody can be, better than who has developed themselves from there to here. So please, what will be next point?
So again, it's unique to each person, right? Depending on where you come from and what you have. But I'm a big believer in real estate myself. So that's where I invest. It's not for everyone. There are amazing investments out there, but I would recommend kind of looking at where you're at financially and finding a way to get multiple streams of income. Now, for some, that could be investing if you have money and you have that ability. But if you don't, that could mean a side hustle or a side hobby that you get paid to do, and then just kind of take that money that you didn't normally get and start putting it aside until you can afford to invest. Those are the biggest. I'm a big believer in multiple streams of income, right? And so for a situation like this pandemic happen, you're not as stressed if, say, you lose your current job because you have other multiple streams coming in to help support you while you're riding the wave to get another job or get back onto the one that, you know, they cut at the time.
Yeah. And when we are talking about these multiple streams and some side hustles, as we all know, it takes little extra tool, it takes little extra effort. And when we are bringing your expertise, you did lots of different experience, you did different kind of work. How you find as a woman shifting gears or maybe adding up more in your plate, how it seems like?
It can be overwhelming at times. I mean, I didn't know it, actually I should have. I'm also a mom. I have a 5 and 7-year-old boys. So I too am in that hustle of busyness, and they're my priority, obviously, because they're my little guys, but it's a matter of depending on where you are. If you're in I'm going to say a traditional kind of 9-to-5 job, and then you got to balance kids, you might only have an hour a day or maybe a few hours on the weekend. So I really want women to be realistic, because I was not. I thought I could take on the world and do it all. And I honestly, I got to a point where I burnt out completely and I could do nothing for a couple months. Like I couldn't even leave my house. I was so sick. And so now I always encourage and support being realistic with your expectations of what you can do. Right. Now, if it's going to be a side hustle where you have to do the work, know what you're taking on, because there's all kinds of things you can do, right? There's MLMs, there's affiliate programs, there's people who write blogs or do editing, there's, you know, people who cook or sew. Like, there's so many things you can do to make a little bit of side money.
Yeah.
I encourage you to do something that you enjoy, because if you don't, it's going to feel like work and it just won't last. And just do a little bit. And if you're liking it, you can build it up. And if you don't, okay, that's okay. Switch to something else. And at some point, if your desire is to not be in a 9-to-5, like mine was, you slowly grow it to a point where you're stable enough financially that you can drop the 9-to-5 and pick up more time on all the other stuff. So my big thing, several years before the pandemic, my husband and I had chatted, and we wanted to get to a point in our careers where we could work from anywhere. We didn't want to be stuck to an office, to a boss, to, you know what I mean? And so when we got there in, it was end of 2019 for me, and then May 2020 for my husband. So it's only just coming up on a year. And freedom we feel, I mean, obviously we're at home, we can't go anywhere with the pandemic, but the freedom that we can go get our kids when we need, if they're sick, or if there's, you know, something going on in school and you want to watch it. Obviously, again, everything closed with COVID, but I didn't have that option before if I was in my office downtown.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And the commute, and we were able to shift our lifestyle. So, like, you know, traditionally I'd go to work on your 8 to 4, 9 to 5, and then you'd have to get your groceries, get your dinner. But now I get groceries in off time, right? I don't have to go when everyone else goes, and I don't have to stress about lines and crowds and parking. It just alleviates so much pressure and anxiety, and gives you so much more time freedom from a perspective of planning and how you go about doing your everyday thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip and advice, as you shared how one can, develop their side hustle rather than feeling like maybe just developing extra money or extra income source. Find it as your passion and do it in a way. And if you find, maybe it can develop as your income source. So I think that's a great tip, because many women, I think they do a lot of chores, they do like, but again, how they can develop their from passion to financial source, I think it's a great advice. So Jessilyn, moving forward, the question comes here, how one can get those kind of leadership qualities. As you said, one moment you was saying, okay, I want to just do VP, right? The next moment you find that, no, I need to have that. But those kind of mindset, it took a while. But same time, if other women are looking the same way, they are listening you, they would like to say, oh yes, this is the perfect thing, which Jessilyn is saying, I want the same way. So how it is all starts, what internal conflict or the questioning comes, because I know we all have, right, when we are taking such kind of decision. So maybe many other our audience who are listening, they might be feeling, even we all feel like, right, whether we should leave because it's our safe box where I'm getting this much income in my bank account each month by going 9 to 5. That's a big challenge, that's a big shift. So those conflict, how one can, overcome, or how one can get into real sense. Yes, I'm ready to do that. Those all kind of things, how it goes, you find when you are doing this.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's not easy, and definitely, learn from my lessons of being in there for 15, actually probably going closer to 20 now. A lot of times you'll hear, they'll say, trust your gut, trust your instinct, right? Especially women, they're very strong and intuitive. And I chose to be very kind of male dominated in the way I approached my career, thinking that I had to be to keep up, because the industries I was in were all very male dominant. And I ignored it. And I can tell you, ladies, every time I ignored my instinct, it kicked me in the butt. My instinct was always right. Not once has it ever been wrong. Our brain takes over, right? Thinking, well, no, I can do this, and no, this will work out. No, it won't. Your instinct tells you. And so there are little things that you might feel like if you're dreading going to work, if you're dreading Mondays, if you're at work on a Monday and you can't wait for the weekend, odds are you don't love where you are or what you're doing.
Right.
And that's okay. That's okay. What I'd say is acknowledge that and start prepping yourself to move on. Now, I'm not saying quit tomorrow. I get we all have bills, and we had to as well. But look at it as fuel to fire your passion of what you want to do. So do it. Plan out how long do you have to do it to either save up so you can quit, or until you can build enough to just drop it because you have income from something you love, and just start working on it. My biggest advice is don't sit on it and wait, because you're just now going to have time pass, and then you're going to have likely some regrets of not starting sooner. And I promise you, if you feel that way and you know you want to eventually go somewhere else, whatever that might be, start going there, because when you get there, it's going to be a whole new world for you. It's going to be like doors opened up. Like, you just feel so amazing, just to have that light, that choice. Like, choice is a big thing. And you know, for as long as I was in the career, I shouldn't say career, I guess the corporate world, because I'm still a career with men, I always thought, like, okay, if I did what they did and followed everything I'm supposed to, I will have what they have, right? I will get the paycheck, I will get the promotions, I will get. No. Take it from me, ladies. I did it. I busted my butt, and I broke myself several times year after year with, you know, losing weight, losing hair, like everything, just from all the stress. And it's not realistic. It's not realistic, I say, for two reasons. One, we're not there yet as a world that women and men are equal in the corporate world. And I can say that. And I wasn't there that long ago where I was one of the top in my field and paid the least.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
that's so true.
Yeah. And I was doing more work than most of them, managing more projects, and I was still paid the least. It is what it is. I mean, I moved on and learned from it. Also, as women, something else I ignored is we all go through certain emotions and things every month.
Yeah.
And I had to just ignore it for what I could. Obviously, I had the symptoms, I felt everything. But it's because men go like this, right? This is just how they work in the work world. Women, I tried to do that, but obviously there's times where I wasn't feeling as well, or I was uncomfortable or in pain, or emotions were like this. And even when I was pregnant, I worked for as long as I could when I was pregnant with both pregnancies. And even there, it's kind of like, woo, oh, not feeling so good, woo. But I still tried to make, like, I'm tough, I'm a guy, I can do it. No, it's okay to own who you are as a woman and be realistic that, you know what, there's going to be a couple weeks every month where you're a powerhouse and you're going to knock more out in those 2 weeks than any guy would in a month. But then there's also going to be a week where you're not up to par. Your body's working overtime on other things, and just accept that and be okay with it. Because I wasn't okay with it. And then you put that much more pressure on your body when it's already working to do what it's normal to do. And so if you can acknowledge that the few weeks where you're super creative and productive, and just chill on the week where you do need to chill, or the whatever it is, 10 days, 2 weeks, play it out, because I feel in the end it balances out from a guy, because a guy does it steady, right?
Yeah. I think that's very important, as you shared. Understand your own gut feeling, and understand as a female, as your emotions, and you are playing a very different role, because as you shared, as a feminine, as our physiology, we have a lot of up and down in our physiology cycle. So if we understand that and play accordingly, I think we can play better than I would not say the men, but in general, we will
Yeah,
play even better than that, because when we are accepting, when we are understanding, yes, today I'm high, today I'm low. So you know when you are low and when you are high, and you are working and you are performing accordingly. So that is very important, because as you shared, most of time as we women, we try to ignore and avoid, and we keep going on, and it leads, I think, to burnout, to feel tired, right?
absolutely. And another thing generally with women, now it's not all, and is that we do try to keep up in our day job, but then a lot of women go home and still have work, right? They cook, they maintain the house, take care of the kids, get schooling, get sports. So that's that much extra work on you, your body, your mentality, your mental state. And there's a lot of men who don't necessarily take on all those extra roles. So they get their downtime, if you will, after work to recover and recoup, to power through the next day. Whereas women, sometimes we go straight until we hit their pillow, then we're up and we're going again. And we don't get that break because we feel obligated, or we feel like it's our responsibility to take care of the kids or the house or everything, aging parents, everything on top of our day job. And it's too much. It is too much to do it all and think you can do it all. Now I get some are in circumstances where maybe they don't have options, but I, again, highly recommend asking for help where you can, because I also didn't. I thought I could do it all, and I would never ask for help. And again, to my demise and my illness, and now I ask for help, whether it's, my in-laws taking the kids for a couple of days so I could catch up on housework, or my husband, more often than not, he takes the kids to school now, and he'll even pick them up, especially if I'm running in meetings. And he's working too. It's not like he's not. He's full-time working as well. But it's just a matter of juggling. And the biggest thing for me was being okay with maybe not having stuff done. And so, a little embarrassed to say this, but there are days where I have piles of clean laundry on my couch, right? Like, I know it's clean, but I just don't have time to fold and put it away. So it's like, okay, you know what? It's okay. Whereas before it would cause oh, I'm failing. I can't even get to my laundry, and there's another to do and another this, and you're just like stressed. But now it's like, yep, I got laundry on my couch, and it's gonna stay there until I can get to it.
Right, right. That's so true. It was making me laugh about myself, because I'm the same way, because I feel like when it is there, let it be. Because if I feel when I'm having time and I'm free, I will do it. It's okay, because we need to understand ourselves, as you shared, as you said. So, Jessilyn, when we are talking all about, you are mentoring and coaching, you are, developing a financial mindset. And when we are talking about it, would you like to share some, maybe your work story, or how you impacted? We hear how you shifted your mindset from that mentality to this mentality, and we are seeing how you are flourishing, you're growing. It's wonderful. But in same way, maybe in your work journey, you have impacted, or you have developed someone's life in the same manner.
Yeah. So I just want to be clear. I don't want to say it's easy, and I wasn't one of those quick ones to get on the right wagon. So because I came from such a poverty mentality, I saved, and I was just scared to spend, right? And that stems from my mom, right? And I understand that now. And generally, in the teachings that I've learned, is usually we trend after one of our parents in how they deal with money. Like, so maybe they're hardcore savers or spenders, or depending, right? And I know I trended after my mom, who's a saver, and just was always afraid to spend. And my husband, who came more from middle class, so he was more comfortable with what money was and what it was like to have it. And so there were times where we would have our heated discussions on like trying to come together on an understanding of money. And so when I took a course, this was a few years ago, on money mindset. That's where I learned that I did take after my mom, and how it, from my upbringing, was impacting my thinking on money, not my reality. And I say that because I got to a point where I was making really good money and I still thought I didn't have enough. And so my husband was like, when is it going to be enough? I'm like, I don't know. There's no such thing as enough, right? And I had to realize, like, no, I'm okay. Like, I did right with my money by saving and investing in real estate. And so should something happen, I have backups now, but I still was so fearful that I had to get a job, I had to get a contract, I had to work, I had to. And then my husband started kind of just showing me a little bit of a different look at our books, our bills, how we spend, what we make, and to say, okay, Jess, realistically, if the whole world shut down, which sadly it did, and we had to ride the wave, this is how long we could last. I was like, what? He goes, yes. I was like, what? Like, it was hard for me, ladies, to really wrap my mind around that. And I was like, oh, so we're not starving. We're not going to have to, go create our own food next month or plant a garden, you know what I mean? Like all the work I had to do as a kid just to have food on the table. And so I just had to work on it. And one day at a time, and another week at a time, a month at a time. I'm going to say it was probably over a couple of years for me to really shift and understand that there's an abundance of money. Firstly, we don't need as much as we think we need to survive. Now, I'm saying just survive. I'm not talking about all the bells and whistles of beautiful vacations and fancy cars, but to just survive. And then for anything past that is additional that you can choose. Like, some people want the fancy cars, some people want the investments so they don't have to work later, some people want the vacations. And so whatever it is you want, that's okay if you've got this part covered, right? And then it was a matter of, okay, there's money out there everywhere. I don't have to stress about it now. That shifted, firstly, how I felt about money,
Right.
how I spend money, and how I look at money. Now I don't, like before I was afraid to spend it. Now I spend it, but it's consciously. Like I still don't go out and overspend. It's not my style. But it's not like, oh, honey, can I get new shoes? Whereas before, like, I'm not kidding, I'd wear shoes for 10 years as long as I didn't blow the soles. Where my husband's like, get new shoes, right? And I'll be like, oh. But now it's like, no, I can afford a pair of new shoes, especially if I'm giving them a lifespan of 5 or 10 years, right? So it wasn't an easy shift for me. I've seen others shift a lot quicker. And especially, I think if I'd had the coaching, the guiding, the mentorship of how to do that, I definitely would have shifted a lot quicker. But mine was little slow bits of learning and then working on it myself, learning and working on it myself. So that's kind of where I came from in terms of money.
Yeah.
If I look at my husband, because when I left my last contract, he was still working full time. And so, of course, like you said, it's comfortable. You get this paycheck, it's coming in, you can pay your bills. And then he decided to leave to start his own thing as well. And I watched how stressed out he was for several months before he gave his notice. And he was in this company, this job for 17 years. He was in this industry for over 20, but with this company specific for 17. And he had it. He had all those amazing benefits, the bonus, and it's like, oh, right, I'm going to go from good to nothing in a matter of 30 days, right? And so we really chatted through it for a few months, and we're finally like, okay, like, we're okay, we can survive, take the leap. And he finally did, and he's never looked back. He's so grateful he did. There's a part of him that wished he'd done it sooner, for sure. But it's all a learning curve. And we learned on our own. Like I said, he didn't have a mentor either, or a coach, or anyone to say, hey, this is how you can plan it out. Like, here's your expenses for each month for a year. Here's your savings. Here's your income. Here's your projected of what you're going to make based on your new adventure, what you're going to do. Here's what your picture looks like. And then you can make an informed decision. But when you don't have that, you're going, okay, I make this month. These are my bills. Nope, I can't quit, right? If you don't really plan it out. So if you could find someone to help guide you through that, even that's not a big chunk of work. Even if you just want to do the basics there and have someone like work with you on it or review it, then at least you know you're making an informed decision on whether you should quit now or maybe boom, 6 months, I'm out. And because even if you have that day in mind, you can see it, right? Like you see the sunshine, you see the clearing, like 6 months, I'm out of here. And you just, I don't want to say you work harder, but I think in some ways you do because you know it's ending. It's not like dragging you to work every day and dragging your soul and your mind to do something you don't love. You know there's the end, an end, and your whole attitude will change. You'll just notice a little bit more pep in your step and more energy just because you see that. But if you're going, I will someday, it doesn't shift.
That's so true. And Jessilyn, when we are talking all about how to shift the mindset, you work yourself for others as well. You work with others, and when they come to you, what first thing you find as a client in them? Like, yes, that's something they need to work on, or what do you advise first thing? We know that you advised us earlier, but as a client, if somebody is approaching you, what first thing you notice in them and what first thing you advise to them?
I want to know their why. What do they want? What do they feel is their purpose? What do they want and why? Because a lot of things you'll hear, and this is just general, it's not necessarily women, but I want financial freedom, right? Everyone wants financial freedom.
Right.
What does that mean? Right? And most people don't know. And it's different for everyone. Like financial freedom might be $2,000 a month for some, $10,000 a month for others. Financial freedom might just mean not having to go to a 9-to-5, not having a boss. Financial freedom, like for some of the women I work with, is they're already successful when it comes to, say, their careers and their income, but they don't have a will, so, and they have kids. They don't have any kind of insurance, like a critical or life insurance. So that adds stress to be like, okay, if I got sick, or if I suddenly passed, what's going to happen to my kids? If I don't have a will, who's getting my kids? And I'm really passionate about the will because, well, I have kids and I've seen it now. It's like, they're like, oh, well, so-and-so, my sister's going to take my kids, people say, or this. And I'm like, is that in writing? They're like, no. I'm like, you can't guarantee that. There's nothing saying the system won't take them and put them in a foster care or somewhere else until it gets resolved through whatever it's got to be, courts. And that could be weeks or months. And like, when you look at it from that perspective, especially I think moms with kids, and they're like, I don't want my kids in a foster care. They have to live, not only that they're experiencing, they lose a parent or two, they're now with strangers they don't know, a home they don't know, a bed they don't know. Like that is just like me, I just get goosebumps, like it kills me inside. It's like, but if you have a will, it's there. You're in, you're out, your kids will be with someone they love, whether it be, a sister or grandparents or whatever, until the paperwork's settled and they go to whomever it is you designated are the upcoming parents, right? So not everyone is in the, I need to make money. Some are like, I need to get my financial life in order. So should something happen, I can sleep well at night knowing that if my husband passed, I'm okay. If we both passed, I'm okay. If one of us gets critically ill, my significant other can take time off to help take care of me and the household while you're going through recovery or medical assistance or whatever it's going to be. So sometimes it's on that side of where they are. And then I have a vast array of clients. I have one who, she was just done being an employee. And so I helped coach her into not just the money side, but I helped her also on the business side because I have a strong business background. And now she owns her business 100%. She is so happy. running it on her own and, you know, having her own clients, having her own say, setting her own hours. And now that she's got that under wraps, and she only launched January this year, her own business. Now she's starting to shift into, okay, I need to start saving for my daughter because she has a 3-year-old, and I need to get a will, right? So now she's starting to look at things because when you've got all these things going on, you can't look at them all. You got to pick, right? So if it's you need a secondary income or you need to leave your job, I would say let's focus on what's important to you, what your why is, and get you there first. When you're good there, then we'll look at other things like I said, like investments, insurance, will, whatever it is you need to make you feel whole and complete and living the best life you can live.
Right. And in the same way, when you're talking about it, it is reminding me about your movement, which you also started recently. What it is all about, how it is the purpose and the how it can help others. Would you like to share that?
Absolutely. So along with a couple partners, we launched what is called the Rich Ladies Movement. We just launched it in April, so pretty new. And we have a call every Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern. It's free to join. I'm happy to provide you I don't think I sent you the link, but you can get a hold of me and I can get you the link to sign up. And the whole concept of it was, a lot of it was based on my experience of everything I've transitioned through, and went, if I had had someone to help me, I may not have had to struggle through a lot of things I did in life.
Right.
And I want to help women so they can get to where they want to go faster. And I've been through a lot, not just like, you know, the male workplace and a mom and struggling as a mom and a career, workplace harassment, abusive relationship. Like I've had almost everything in my life where I went, oh man, if someone had maybe helped me realize that wasn't okay, I may not have struggled in it as long as I did. Because when you're figuring it out on your own, it always takes twice as long to figure it out, right? And so we have this movement where it's, you know, it's for women, and it's a community to help support women, and they're all in different places, all different ages as well, where we have a conversation. And sometimes it's on, I think it was, 2 weeks ago, where it was on like self-worth, self-love, like, why don't you have it? Where does it stem from? Kind of working on things like that. We bring in speakers, guest speakers who are usually fairly prominent. Like we actually have a guest speaker today. It's at 6:30, and her name's Brenda Gilbert. And she is a co-founder of Bronze Studio, who just won 2 Grammys 2 weekends ago. So she has 4 children. So I'm excited to hear how she did it, because that's a huge achievement. And having 4 kids, right? So again, we change it up depending on when we can get certain speakers to come in. And some of it'll be on kind of like coaching on topics very specific to women, and some will be women who have made it very well and sharing their stories and their successes. Right. So that's the big thing about the Rich Ladies. And then we're going to be shifting into, eventually as we're growing it out, to having an option with mentorship, and then having an option with helping them with a business, helping women build a business.
Yeah, that's huge, and that's seems like very innovative initiative which you are doing, and reaching out to women to develop that mindset. That's like first essential thing, even when they are doing any study, any course, any work, or any business. If they don't have that right mindset, they are not going to see themselves where they want to be, where they would like to see themselves after certain years of their work or whatever part of their life, right? So Jessilyn, when we are talking about it, you are talking so essential, so important thing in current scenario, in the current this global pandemic time. And we all are aware this in global pandemic time, lots of people, they lost their job, they lost their work, they lost their businesses, but same time many new business has developed. And I was reading initially that during this, more even women, even they were having more work, like taking care of children, but they developed more new businesses than men. So in same scenario, when we are talking about it, how these women who are looking to develop or who are developing can continue visualize and can have that vision, what you are trying to develop, okay, have that financial mindset, how they can do that. Because as we know, we start, but sometime, as you said, we get stressed out if we are not seeing some certain result at certain time, how they can do that.
So if you have, it's not always easy. If you know, I say follow your gut, and when you have time, and I'm not saying like you need to take a day out, like maybe you only have 10 minutes while the kids are having a bath or something, and you think about, okay, what is it I really want? Okay, why do I want that? Once you figure out your why, then you can figure out your what and your how. How does that work? What does that look like? Right? But you will really want to know why you want what that is. And some people very topically think of what it is until we start to dig in deeper and realize that's actually not what you want. Right? And I do work with women. I do visioning workshops as well. And I just kind of help them really dig in, because a lot of the times with the women I've worked with, I've experienced, and I did it myself, is when we look at your values, like I always get them to rate their top 5 values. And it's like, if above everything else, if you had to drop every other value, what are your top 5? And the ones that come up, right, are like family, marriage, kids, work, things like that. And then I dig in, and I'm like, a lot of times, ladies, we say that because we feel obligated to say that, right? I did it at first too. It took me some time to figure out that it's okay that I value money. It's okay that I value traveling, or it's okay that I value having me time. But most moms won't write that because they feel they have to, they're supposed to value their spouse, their children. And I'm not saying we don't. Absolutely, I love my husband and my children, but that doesn't mean that's where I have to focus my energy. And when I realized and shifted that to work on what I really value and owned it, I had to own it. Everything else got way more attention and love anyways, right? Because now I was focused on what was for me in true to my heart and my soul and what I wanted. And then everyone around you will reap those benefits, your kids, your husband, co-workers, right? Because
that's very important. Yeah, that's so important, that how you can understand and how you can see how it is going to affect in a positive manner all who are surrounding near to you. So Jessilyn, with this note, last thing, what one message would you like to give to our audience?
Well, I usually have a couple, but I would say be okay to make a change. Again, I'm not saying leave your job, leave this, do that, but you know what? Look into what you want, not what you want because it's your kids or your husband, but you.
Yeah.
And take one step in that direction to get what you want.
Yeah, that's a very strong and very beautiful advice, because I believe in the same way, like, be what way you want and take a step one by one. Last thing, how do you find having a platform or having such kind of talk show as Women Dialogue is doing is important?
Oh, extremely. Like, I don't even have a value to put on it. I think the more platforms that are out there to support and educate women, the stronger we will become as a whole. And I think the more we will step out to support other women to grow like we are.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot for sharing such a vision, such kind of mindset. And I think we all are really highly empowered and inspired and motivated to get that financial richness and mindset. And with this note, I just would like to say thank you so much, Jessilyn, for being with us, for sharing your wisdom and knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And thanks to all our audience who are listening and watching us. Please connect with us, share with us. And if you would like to hear more women dialogues and more women stories to get inspired and motivate, keep watching us, keep subscribing us, and keep looking what we are having for you to inspire and motivate. Till then, take care, enjoy, stay safe, stay connected. And don't forget, I have putting the detail about Jessilyn. So get connected with Jessilyn to develop your financial independence mindset, the richness. So till then, take care. Bye-bye.